What's up guys, my name is Ace, and today I can finally share the exclusive hands-on multiplayer footage that I got when I was flown out by EA to Respawn Studios in LA about a week and a half ago now, or 2 weeks ago. I finally get to share the multiplayer aspects of this, so what you're watching is my multiplayer gameplay playing against other YouTubers as well as people from the media at this event. So keep in mind the people I'm playing against are not new to first-person shooters. These guys are generally quite good at the game, but I still had some really good gameplays like this one where I'm pretty proud of myself. I think this one I ended up going like 30-4 and playing the objective, basically dominated this lobby, which felt great. But yeah, we were playing against people from media as well as YouTubers. We got to play for about 4 hours, I think, which is quite a long time. I was really happy we got so much hands-on multiplayer time. We got to play 3 different game modes. So we played Bounty, which is a brand new game mode that we're playing here. This is the one that you're seeing in the gameplay. And with this one, basically, you kill the AI bots, the grunts and stuff, to build up money. You can see I'm holding $20 right now. You build up that money, and then eventually these deposit locations go online, and you have to go to these locations and deposit your money by standing next to these areas for a period of time. And it is a team-based game mode, so you're also battling against other pilots. You're trying to fight the other pilots to get these bot kills, and then every time you kill an enemy pilot, you also steal half of his bounty, so whatever he's carrying at the time, you steal half of that, and he loses half of that. So it's a really interesting dynamic with that. It's very fluid. It moves around the map a lot because, like, for instance, at the beginning it'll drop grunts right where it says A there on the map, and then the deposit locations go active, which are in a different area of the map, so then you have to move to those areas. And then it drops like a bounty titan that is like an AI controlled titan that you guys are battling to kill, and he awards a bounty when you kill him, a pretty big bounty, and he moves around the map and everything. So it's really dynamic, really fluid game mode that I really enjoyed. I'm very excited for this one. It's probably going to be one of the ones I play the most when this game actually comes out. I would say out of the 3 game modes we played, this is the one I enjoyed the most. The next game mode we got to play was Pilot versus Pilot, which is basically just a no Titan team deathmatch. So 6v6, just you versus other pilots, and Titans never drop on the map, so you just have to worry about pilots. I really enjoy that as well, because I'm not a huge fan of the Titans. You might notice in this gameplay, I kind of suck in Titans. I don't really like it as much. I just feel slow and clunky, and I'd prefer to be grappling around and running around, wall running around, and being super fast. So I like being on the ground more often. And the final game mode we got to play was Amped Hardpoint, which is very similar to Domination in Call of Duty. You have like the 3 points, but you can amp a hardpoint by staying on it for a certain period of time. You can like double cap it essentially. And as long as you stay within that area, you'll earn double points for that capture, which is a really cool aspect of that. So just imagine like in Black Ops 3, for instance, you like capture this E flag, but then you can capture it again by staying on that location. And as long as you stand next to it, after you capture it the second time, it counts as though you're holding 2 flags. So it really forces people to move around the map and push the enemy spawn a little bit to get them off their amped hardpoint. And I really like how that one played out as well, but overall my favorite was definitely this Bounty game mode. As far as the maps go, we got to play 3 of the maps. We got Boomtown, Homestead, as well as Forward Base Kodai, which is the one you're watching right now. Now these maps, they reminded me quite a bit of Titanfall 1, essentially. It's not like all the maps are identical or anything. They just have that similar sort of style where they have the big open areas where Titans can roam freely and stuff. And then they have the buildings and things where the pilots can get through, and the Titans can't really get to the people very easily. They have to shoot through windows and stuff to try and kill the pilots. And I really like how the maps are designed. I think they play really well. They're all very unique as well, which is one nice thing. None of the maps seem to play exactly the same. They all have their own unique aspects to them, and I really enjoyed that with the 3 maps that we got to play. So getting into my overall thoughts of multiplayer so far based on my hands-on experience, I'm going to break it up into different aspects, and one of the most important ones is movement. The movement in this game is very similar to Titanfall 1 with a few improvements that they've made. First off, the slide feature has also been added to multiplayer. I know I mentioned it in single player, it's also in multiplayer, and this actually makes a really big difference. I'm surprised at how much of a difference this slide feature makes in this game. When I went back and I was playing Titanfall 1 last week, I was trying to slide everywhere and I just couldn't do it, and it felt so clunky and I really hated it. With this game, you have that slide available to you and it's balanced quite well. It's not like super fast or anything. It's just a nice way to chain your movements together around the map, and I really enjoy that. Next, we also have access to a grapple, which you'll see me use throughout this gameplay quite a bit. I really enjoyed using the grapple. Keep in mind, not everybody always has the grapple. It's actually one of the choices that you have in your class loadout. So you have to choose between, at least what we had. We had a choice between the grapple, cloak, which is really powerful in this game, by the way. The cloak is very good in this game, at least in the current build, as well as this throwing knife thing where I believe if you hit an enemy pilot with it, it will kill them in one hit. Although I didn't see this happen throughout the game at all, and I wasn't able to hit anybody. I wasn't really thinking about it too much. But either way, wherever it lands, it acts as like a homing beacon, and it'll actually point out enemies through walls that are within the general vicinity. They do have to be fairly close to it. It's obviously not going to illuminate the whole map or anything, but any pilots in the vicinity, it will illuminate through walls so you can see them. So there is that trade-off. I personally love the grapple. I was using the grapple almost every single game. Even though I was trying to use as much variety as possible, I just felt empty without that grapple, because that's the way I like to play the games. One other thing about the movement that I got from talking to one of the developers is they did tune down pilot movement just a little bit. So they slowed the pilot movement down slightly, like your base movement speed, which I think is a really good thing. You don't move around the map way too quickly, and I think it balances it out well when you include the grapple as well as like stim in this game. That's also one of the things that you can choose from in this game that I forgot to mention, and those things make you go super fast. So I like that they toned that pilot movement down just a little bit. It's not super noticeable, but it is something that one of the YouTubers brought up. He felt like it was a little bit slower, and the developer was like, yes, actually we did tune it down just slightly, and I think that's going to play out quite well. Now, I hate to compare this to other games, but I have a Call of Duty background. My channel is designed around Call of Duty, and a lot of you guys are Call of Duty players, so just comparing the movement to Black Ops 3, I did notice that it did feel a little bit clunkier than Black Ops 3. The movements didn't chain together quite as well, and it's definitely going to feel different if you come from Black Ops 3 and try to play Titanfall 2. My first few games, I was stumbling around like a drunk, and even throughout the entire play session, there were a few times where I thought I could do something, but I wasn't able to do it with the movement system in Titanfall 2. This is just something that you're going to have to play around with and get used to, so for those of you guys that do come from that Black Ops 3 background, and you jump into Titanfall 2, expect to have a little bit of a learning curve with that movement because it does feel quite a bit different. Moving on to weapons, one of the biggest complaints with Titanfall 1, I remember, was just a lack of variety, especially in weapons. There weren't really that many weapons, and that looks like it's going to be changing a lot this year with Titanfall 2. Just for our little playtest, which keep in mind is nowhere near the full game, they had a lot restricted, and we talked to the developers, there were lots of guns and things that didn't show up at all throughout our loadouts that are going to be in the final game. We had access to one assault rifle, which was the same assault rifle from Titanfall 1, like the basic R201 I think it was called, 2 SMGs, 2 LMGs, 2 sniper rifles, 1 shotgun, and a primary launcher. And then there were also some pistols and stuff. There was no smart pistol. I know a lot of people have been asking about the smart pistol. There was no smart pistol, at least in this build, so I think that's a really good thing. I think a lot of people will agree with that. And this is just a very small piece of the number of weapons that are going to be in the game, according to the developers. They said this is just a glimpse of what we're actually going to be seeing. So it seems this time around, we are going to have quite a bit of variety in weapons, which is something that I really like. As for overall weapon balance, I like that a lot of these weapons have a lot of variety. They all have different sorts of feel to them. Like one of the LMGs, for instance, it shoots like lasers or something like that, or it shoots some sort of energy projectile, and there is travel time with that, whereas the other LMG doesn't really seem to have any travel time. Also, with the sniper rifles, there is bullet travel time, so it's not a hit scan, so you do have to lead your shots a little bit, which I really like that aspect when you have that super long-range sniping, which you can actually get within the maps of this game. And every gun seemed to have its own unique feel, at least all the ones that we got to play with, and I really enjoyed that. As far as balance went in that build that we were playing, the one big issue that I had is sniping is quite difficult in this game, because the movement is quite crazy, and you do have to lead your shot and everything, and the rechamber time on the sniper rifles we had was fairly high, so if you miss a shot, it takes a little while to rechamber. And that was already difficult. The assault rifle in the game, the R201, is like a laser beam. It's got very little recoil. I don't think it has much or any idle sway. And I was just finding with that assault rifle, I could pick those snipers off from pretty much across the map, like rooftop to rooftop across the map. I could pick them off with ease. And I really felt bad when I was killing the snipers. And then when I was trying to get some sniper gameplay, which I really struggled with, by the way, I felt the same thing kept happening to me. I felt like I was as far away as I could possibly be. I was using good cover, and I was trying to pick these people off when they were in their spawn, and they would just light me up with the assault rifle. And it was a little bit frustrating, so I feel like a few tweaks may need to be made to some of the weapon balancing. I'm sure they will be made, especially after the beta, after they get some feedback from that, and things get worked out there. But overall, very excited that it seems like there's going to be a lot of weapon variety this time around. The next thing I wanted to point out is time to kill. In this game, I'm talking pilot versus pilot time to kill, by the way. So when you're actually shooting another pilot or a pilot shooting you, the time to kill feels very, very fast. There's almost never time to react if you get shot in the side or something. You're just dead almost instantly. And I'm not too sure how I feel about that. It definitely feels like it's quite a bit faster than Titanfall 1. And I think I kind of prefer that slightly longer time to kill for this style of game. It wasn't like a huge complaint for me by any means. It just felt like there were sometimes I kind of felt helpless and I was just running and I got caught and it was as simple as that, I got killed. But on the other end of that, there were lots of kills that I got that I probably wouldn't have gotten if the time to kill was slightly higher because the enemies would have had a chance to get away from me. So it does rely heavily on flanking, I found, and taking your enemies off guard, because if you do take your enemy off guard, there is very little chance that they'll be able to react in time as long as your aim is pretty good. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about the Titans that we had access to. Now, in this build, we only had access to 2 of the Titans. We had Scorch and Ion. Both of these are brand new Titan builds, and they do have their own unique aspects to them. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not really a huge fan of using Titans, so I might not be the best person to be talking about this, but I mean, I did play with them a little bit, I did get some experience. I'm just not really an expert with the Titans, and I didn't really care that much what was going on while I was a Titan. I was basically just spraying down other Titans and pilots and doing the best I could there. But from what I've seen, each Titan seems to have its own unique sort of personality and abilities, which worked out quite well. I like these new abilities, like the core abilities, for instance. I believe it was Ion has this giant cannon that comes out of his chest and just destroys everything in its path. Like, it's very easy to take out another Titan when you have that, which is really, really cool. But it does take a little while to charge that up, so it's not like it's super easy to just earn that or anything. And then Scorch has this big wall of flames that he can set on the ground. It's great for taking out pilots and grunts and things like that. I don't know how effective it is at taking out other Titans. I didn't really use Scorch much at all. I was using Ion pretty much the entire time. But I am glad they added a couple new ones here. They also are adding Ronin, which is one with a sword. You guys have probably seen in like the trailers and stuff, for instance. We didn't have access to Ronin, unfortunately, because that seems like it would be my type of Titan. A little bit faster than these Titans, and you get a lot of melee action going on, it seems like, because you have a giant sword. And also, I'm not too sure, but I think they're going to be bringing back some of the Titans from Titanfall 1 as well. So it seems like we're going to have great Titan variety this time around, which is really good for a lot of people. For me, I don't really care that much. Like, Titans are just an afterthought to me. It's more about the pilot gameplay for me. So that's pretty much everything I wanted to cover in today's video. Let me know if you'd like me to go more in depth with some of this stuff. I got tons of gameplay. I got like screenshots of all the different menus and everything that we had access to. There's a lot going on in this game, and if you guys have any questions in the comment section below, feel free to leave them. Keep in mind, I probably won't be able to get to every single one of them, but I did get a lot of hands-on time with this game, and I might be able to answer some of the questions that you guys have. Also, in the comment section below, I'd love to know what you guys think of this so far, just based on the gameplay that you saw today, as well as everything that I talked about. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.